this and Tea Party that. Just think, if we have 30 out of 100 and we can get 50 more people to show up, then we would have 80 out of 150. And we can take back those seats on those central committees. We can run candidates all up and down these seats. I mean, school boards. We need to have conservatives on the school boards. We need Ronald Reagan type people who would say, look, this is the deal. If you don't like it, you're fired. We'll bring in other people to take these jobs. This is America. This is America. This is the finest city in the country. This is the finest country ever conceived in human existence. Our forefathers expect us to fix this, and our children should trust us to do it as well. So I'm running for Congress. I'm not a career politician, and I'm going to do my best to beat Brian Bilbray in this primary coming up next June. But I need your help. I can't do it by myself. I can't run a shoestring campaign when he's going to take $250,000 of PAC money, and he's going to have the franking privilege. I don't know how many people know the franking privilege, but Benjamin Franklin said you can start to write letters to constituents free of cost. It's now a robo-signing. They send out $250,000, so he's got at least a $500,000 advantage. So help me if you can. We can do this. I'm going to do my best to run a good, honest campaign, focus on the issues, and with the remaining time we have, I'll take any questions you might have. Yes, sir.
I wonder if you could tell us just a little bit about his record versus why you want to run against him.
Okay, very clear. I think the distinction is absolutely clear. He is not a fiscal conservative. He has never had an A rating from the National Taxpayers Union. He, more than times not, has had a B- or a C+. He has the lowest rating of any Republican in the state of California from the Club for Growth. He's ranked 19th out of 19. He has a 63% score from Citizens Against Government Waste. And I'm not making this stuff up. You can go to my website, you can go to their websites and see these ratings. So he's not a fiscal conservative. So that alone, being a rhino, in my view, Democrats and rhinos are no different because they both destroy conservative values. And if we don't get this country back on conservative values, this republic is in serious, serious trouble. Secondly, he was an advisor to the log cabin Republicans. I don't have anything to do with that agenda. Thirdly, he is pro-choice. He is a member of Republicans for Choice. I am a pro-life candidate, and that's a big distinction for many folks. So he's not a fiscal conservative. He's not a conservative on any issue. If you ask anyone, where is he conservative, they will say on immigration. So I looked on the website for various immigration groups, and his policy is exactly the same as mine. So there is a big distinction here. He's been a career politician his whole life. He was elected to the city council in Imperial Beach in his 20s. He ran for Congress. When he got beat in 2000 by Susan Davis, you could have done lots of things. You could have come back to San Diego and started a business. You could have helped a buddy of yours grow his business. You could have done lots of things. What did Bilbray do? Within 2 months, he became a registered lobbyist. So I don't know how it works in the lobbyist world, but I think you have to have an interview, maybe a couple interviews. So it might take a couple of months to get a position. If he had a job within 2 months, he must have called day one after he got beat and said, I want to become a lobbyist. 75% of former congressmen are registered lobbyists. I don't see them as part of the solution. And if Duke Cunningham had not shot himself in the foot and gone to federal prison, Bilbray would still be a registered lobbyist today. So those are the basic distinctions. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Legal immigration.
We should enforce our laws. We should enforce our borders. The E-Verify would be very good for employers. We've got to get back the cost of illegal immigration in our schools, our hospitals. The whole thing is I don't know who can define it, but it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars per year. It's more pronounced here. But I hear stories of meatpacking plants up in Iowa and Georgia and all kinds of places where this is in effect. So we've got to get our hands around that.
What area is your district going to cover with your
It looks to be the 56 through the 15, a little outside the 15, down to the coast, all the way down through Coronado. So what they've basically done is they've moved Bilbray down, they moved Davis in, they kind of slid Hunter and Ice up and around. And the district, as I understand the demographics, will be a 2-point plus for Republicans. So it's a Republican district, but only by 2 points. So it's It's the only unsafe seat in our county, which is embarrassing.
And let me ask you, with that being said, you know, we all know how elections go. What is your method for reaching out to the Democrats so that you can pull that demographic?
Well, if I looked in the old district, 50th, just to get a relative sense, decline to state is huge. There were 92,000 declined to states in the old 50th. There were 116,000 Democrats. So I think the richer target is the independents. But I heard a survey that if you talk to a person face to face, even if they're a Democrat, there's an 80% chance that they will vote for you. So that's why I plan to walk through the neighborhoods. I would be glad to take a couple of streets and we'll get these files from the voter registration office. And you take the odd numbers and I'll take the even numbers. We'll spend the afternoon walking through your neighborhoods. I need your help. We can't do this alone. We've got to turn back the status quo. Now, I don't know if you heard Mike Slater's show the other morning, but they had Bill Bray on at 7 in the morning. And he was stumbling as to why he voted for this debt ceiling. And then I came on after that. So if you get a chance, listen to the podcast for Thursday morning at 7 a.m. Yes, sir.
What's your opinion on this splitting California into north-south?
I haven't spent a lot of time on it. You know, I think we need to solve our problems, and I think we can do it. There are enough. The silent majority has to get involved here. If you want to wait to 2 weeks before the election to say, boy, I want to make a difference, that's too late. We've got to get involved now. We've got to get organized. And I will say this, the iCaucus group, I've been visiting a lot of groups around the county, going to a couple, 3 meetings every week. The iCaucus group is the most organized, actual doer organization versus just talk about stuff. And we've got to get people involved. So Jerry's helping me with my campaign. We're getting more people involved. If you can help me out, hey, I was up to Craig Huey's district and walked 2 Saturdays up there. And the guys on the bus said, look, a volunteer helping you for 1 afternoon is the same as a $500 contribution. So if people can get involved, there's more than one ways to do it. We can do this. We've got to take our country back. I am not going to meet my forefathers at the pearly gates. And when they ask me, did you not see what was going on? What did you do about it? I am not going to say, yeah, I saw what was going on, but I decided to do nothing and sit on my hands. This is something I'm going to spend a lot of time with. I'm dedicated to it. I have the time and energy now. I'm basically retired, and I'm going to do the best I can for our country. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts about dealing with unemployment?
What are we going to do about unemployment?
Yes.
We've got to get the economy growing. We've got to get the burden of regulation and taxation off the backs of entrepreneurs. Al runs an auto shop up in Del Mar. You know, I could probably talk to him for an hour about the regulations, the guys that come around and want to know why this permit isn't there and what's about this, whatever. We've got to get the economy growing. What we should do is reduce regulation. We should reduce the tax rates, lower the tax rates down, repatriate foreign operations, profits, employees, and get rid of this burden. I mean, I had a small LLC that I started a couple of years ago. I'm getting more letters and fees and forms from the state than I can handle. It's just unreal. We've got to unbridle the economy of regulation, lower the tax rates, and bring it back to where we can do it. It should be, you know, the state of California loses 5 businesses every week. When I first came to Silicon Valley in 1977, it was like the shining city on the hill. Going to Silicon Valley from any other part of the country was like going to heaven. The streets were paved with gold. Everything worked. It was amazing, and we've got to get back to that. So I feel that if we don't solve these problems for your generation and this lady sitting next to you, we have failed as the adults in the room. And I'm going to do what I can to do that. But it's going to be through common sense solutions. What I want to do is I'm not going to sit in a room with a bunch of lobbyists and have them hand me a check for $2,500 and say, hey, here's the way we want you to vote on this. I want to have town hall meetings and we'll throw up a topic. You guys tell me, what's the topic you want to get more understanding? Jobs. Let's take input from guys like Al and Jerry and Rich as to what needs to be done to help small businesses grow and prosper and export more product. Yes, sir.
Where do you stand on foreign aid with this foreign money?
You know, when you look at how much we spend, it's not huge, but it is still there. Anything should be on the table. Everything should be on the table. Are we sending it to the right people? Right? Half the time, when I remember when I was a kid, we were sending money to these guys down in Nicaragua, and it was the wrong group, and all you have to do is have a guy come in and say, hey, I'm fighting Castro, so send me some money, this kind of thing. So everything should be on the table. And zero-based budgeting should be the case. I would imagine if you look at a fungus that has just grown and grown and grown and grown, this all started 60, 70 years ago. We've got to get our hands around it. It can't happen overnight, but it has to happen soon. This, tell me what you're going to do in years 8, 9, and 10 is ridiculous. Tell me what you're going to do in September, October, and November, and then I can get serious about what you're telling me. Yes, sir.
Any chance for reining in the EPA and getting rid of the Department of Energy?
Well, the 10th Amendment would say that that is very much on the table, right? What do they do? Why do they do it? And what's the benefit? You have to look at the cost-benefit analysis of anything that you're doing, right? But you can't just have a bunch of bureaucrats say, hey, we want to spend 5 to 7% more every year than we did the year before. If you look at the rule of 72, something growing at 7.5% per year will double in less than 10 years. It will quadruple in 20 years. So that's what's been going on in our country. So it's time for us to stand up, take back the mantle, get rid of these rhinos, get rid of these Democrats. Every one of those guys should be challenged, and the iCaucus groups in all other parts of the country need to come together. We've got to unite as conservatives and run against this stuff which has done our country no good. We have time for one more? Yes, sir.
Well, just saying, coming off that though, with like oil, how would you break through the environmentalist lobby, basically controlling any sort of wanting to break through to drill? Because they have such a strong hold over drilling.
Yeah, we've got to elect, we've got to hold on to the House, we've got to win the Senate in 2012, and we've got to take back the White House. Then we have the ability to do those kinds of things. I will personally not meet with a lobbyist outside of my office. If I get elected, I'm going to have an office that you guys are providing. That's where you meet them. You don't meet them on a junket to Australia or some golfing trip down to Boca Raton. I will have more meetings with citizens. If a lobbyist has a good idea, come and see me. I will never take a dime of PAC money. I think that has been a corrosive force in our country for the last 30 or 40 years. And if you think, well, the system is good, right? Let's look at the results, right? How embarrassing is it that just yesterday, for the first time in the history of our great country, forget World War I, the Civil War, World War II, the Great Depression, our credit rating got dropped. We are going to look like Greece in another 20 years, a large Greece, if we don't get our hands around this. Yes, ma'am.
You guys, one more question, okay? Because
Now, I'll hang around
got a
as
pretty
long,
heavy,
any questions that
agenda.
didn't get asked or answered, I will hang around until the sun starts to go down, if that's what it takes. But,
What are
yes,
your
ma'am.
thoughts about congressional members having the same health care that the peon staff, or traveling around in the same transportation that the peons have? When I see Biden in his big limo, he's not one of the people. He's royalty.
As I said, leadership by example. I will have no better health care plan than is available to the citizens. You've got to lead by example. You can't say, well, we're these princes and princesses up on this shining thing, and we expect you guys to keep sending in $2.2 trillion a year, and we'll spend 3.7 and watch our country crumble. It's not going to work. So thank you very much. I will be here. I'll hang around afterwards for any questions that didn't get answered.